I know we have a setback in which I'm not allowed to do things.
Like what things?
Whatever I want. I like doing what I want, and I'm not allowed to.
Welcome back to the North Carolina Real Estate Show. I am Tiffany Weber, your host. I'm an attorney at Thomas & Weber in Mooresville, North Carolina. And I have a special guest today, my husband, Ryan Weber.
Well, hello. It's great to see you. I have not seen you in quite some time.
So, our topic today is setbacks.
I know a thing about setbacks.
Okay.
Not many things, but I do know a thing.
Okay.
Would you like me to try and define what a setback is?
I would actually love that.
Okay. So, in real estate, setbacks are areas in which you're not allowed to do anything on your property, or there's maybe an easement. I don't know how to define it other than like, I know we have a setback in which I'm not allowed to do things.
Like what things?
Whatever I want. I like doing what I want, and I'm not allowed to.
Let me just remind everyone that you are not a lawyer.
Far from it.
And this is just a good try. Don't rely on anything
The
that
old
he
college
said.
try.
So I'll tell you what a setback is.
Okay, thanks.
So this setbacks kind of more arise out of zoning law than anything. So zoning affects setbacks. Also, like a common scheme of development for a neighborhood affects setbacks. And it has to do with how close you can build a structure to the property line. So zoning affects setbacks because, let's say, you are in a commercial area. Like in Mooresville, I can't remember the specific thing they call it. It's like the One Mooresville plan or some plan they have where new developments, they want the buildings closer to the road, and kind of like you go into this little center and you can do all of your business within this little center, but the buildings are closer to the road. But then there's other developments where they're pushed further back, but that's a different zoning. Like residential, there may be certain densities that are allowed, and part of that is how far off the property line can you build. Our neighborhood, I think, is 15 feet in the side. It's 15 on the side, and then 35 from the front. It would be 35 from the rear if we were not on the lake, but you cannot build within 50 feet of the water.
I knew 50 feet was something. I thought that was where I just can't cut trees down.
So that is, like, say you did have a neighborhood where the plat said it's 35 from the front and 35 from the rear that you can't build within. Well, if you live on the lake, those restrictions or those laws can make it more restrictive than what your developer said.
So you might say like, oh, I'm buying this lot. I know I've got 35 and 35. I can put a house that's 35 feet from the lake. Go me. Lies, because it's 50
feet from the 760 line, which is like the contour line of like when the lake is at full pond.
This is not setbacks, but do you know if there's points in the lake in which the 760 line is like far out, so you could actually have your house like super close to the water?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of why there's some houses that have like the long beaches. Yeah, so the 760 line is not the same as your property line. So you could have like here's your property line, but the 760 line's way out here, so you can't build within 50 feet of the 760. Like you'll still have to abide by whatever your property line setbacks are. Now, I want to go back and address some things you had right and some things you had wrong in your definition.
Don't use wrong.
That you could have improved upon in your definition. And what you could improve upon is being right next time. Because you were wrong.
Okay.
So you were talking about how a setback is an area where you can't do things.
Yes.
And that's why they can put the fiber in. That is not why. The setback is really just to
building restrictions.
Confine the building envelope.
That's what I said. Setbacks are for building confinement envelopes.
You guys heard it from Ryan first?
You heard it from me.
A setback is, letting you know what portion of your lot is buildable. And there's nothing more to add to that.
You're welcome, real estate people of North Carolina.
We need to send you to law school.
I don't know how I'd do. Now there's county setbacks, there's city setbacks, there's neighborhood setback. Like there's a bunch of different ones. What's the hierarchy? Who runs it? Like who runs it?
Whatever is most restrictive. So let's say the county
Well,
setback.
that's messed up. It should be who's least restrictive so you can get a win.
Nope, you can, whatever setback is most restrictive is the one you have to follow. So say your developer only put a 10-foot setback all the way around, front, back, sides. But the county says, no, you need at least 35 from the front and 35 from the rear, or you need at least 20 feet. Then you have to do whatever is more restrictive.
Multiple layer question here. Question number 1, who sets the setbacks? Who's the one that says, I'm the keeper of the setback?
Well, it could be multiple. I mean, the zoning authority, the developer.
So the developer, someone developing land could be like 25 feet. I like that number.
If we subdivided our lot, not the one we live on right now, it's too small, but the one we're moving to, if we subdivided that and created 2 lots out of it, provided we weren't breaking any laws by subdividing it, we could make the setbacks whatever we wanted. We would decide that.
Gotcha. That pretty much answered the other layers of the questions, so thank you.
All right, so we're back to a single layer question. Well, I do appreciate your insight. I strongly encourage any agents or people listening.
Fast forward through the first 2 minutes to when Tiffany was giving the definition.
Do not rely on Ryan's definition of setback. That's all I ask. Otherwise, it's been an absolute joy to have you on the episode today.
Always my favorite time of the day.
That's great. Well, thanks for joining us on this episode of the North Carolina Real Estate Show.